Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. We're going for our most ambitious one yet. It is the AEW 24-hour Extravaganza. This video might take a bit of time. 50 matches, 67 segments. It does tally at just 1,103 minutes, but because we're on the AEW Plus network, I was going to give the rest of the time to commercials, but I just felt like it was going to take forever doing the 20% of angles to match time. What didn't help as well is the intended Cody Rhodes Bryan Danielson 1 hour match. The Iron Man isn't going to be an hour because Cody Rhodes can't hack it. He doesn't have the stamina, so that's been reduced to 30 minutes. It shows the match roster I've got. The need for a brand split. We've obviously got debuts because I need more workers. I had to hire 6 independent referees that were local in the area just to give me that as well. That was a bit of an issue, was making sure our referees weren't get jaded. And also remember, this show is judged on our highest angle and our main event. So this show can be spectacular. If Kenny Omega versus Sammy Guevara for the World Heavyweight Championship flops, this flops. If it succeeds, with the legendary band, the A-list celebrity, and the special set, we just may have an opportunity of finally cracking the 100 show. The attendance will be over 100,000. It should be a sellout 106,000 at the Beaver Stadium. My reasoning was, I made it a free to attend event because a 24-hour event, you'd be very rare if somebody was going to stay that amount of time. You'd have people coming and going, and you'd have some sort of flexi ticket you scan on entrance and come back like 6 hours later or something. That was my mindset, thinking that I was going to do this. We're going to jump straight in. It's going to be a long one. Hopefully you'll join us for it and don't get bored too easily, but it will just kind of give you an idea of how good the roster is, and if you've got any ideas of plans you think we can build into 2024, let me know, because we'll start getting new programs on the horizon. So without further ado, let's crack on. If anything isn't linear, as in like the card seems in a weird way, like I just added matches, I wasn't going to sort 50 matches in terms of, oh, that should be there, that should be there. I just put the 50 matches in and made sure my main event was fine. Let's do it. Let's go. This is AEW 24-hour Extravaganza. We start the show. The sold out 106,572 at the Beaver Stadium in the Tri-State area. The first part is fine. We get the 100 rated segment straight off the bat. World Champion Sammy Guevara, Kenny Omega says, in just under a day's time, you're going to lose that World Championship. And I'm going to show that the true best bout machine is Kenny Omega. And Sammy, you're good, but you're just not quite at my level. So that's getting fans ready, knowing that in 24 hours Kenny and Sammy will do battle. A decent matchup. Private Party defeated the Rascals in 1759 with Isaiah Cassidy pinning Desmond Xavier. This was a 69 rated match. I felt like I really wanted to give a good victory for Private Party. I feel the showcase match Isaiah Cassidy had with Keith Lee in real life was very, very promising, and can we just realise, damn, these guys are good, really good. So it could maybe start to put them in a wee push here, and they pick up the win, and what I believe would be an exciting opener. We then had our authority figures, Mick Foley and Daria Bernardo, come out and just say thank you for coming to this historic event. We hope you enjoy what you're about to see. And even Mick Foley will be refereeing because they got short of refs, but that was a 64. We had a battle royal to become the #1 contender to the TBS Championship. So all these workers, a 24-hour show, and I still had a battle royal featuring Abaddon, Alison Kay, Ashley Sabera, Athena, Avery Taylor, Barana Brandy, Brittany Blake, Candice LeRae, Cheerleader Melissa, Julia Hart, Keely Ray, Maki Ito, Mi Suruga, Nikki Storm, Priscilla Kelly, Sarah Del Rey, Sarah Stock, Tegan Knox in her debut, Tessa Blanchard, and Yuka Sakazaki. The bout was subpar, little heat. Tegan Knox picks up the win in just under 25 minutes. She was joined in the final four by Brianna Brandy, Priscilla Kelly and Mie Saruga, with me being the final elimination, and it was a good showing for Brianna Brandy. She got the most eliminations, but Tegan Knox on her debut, debuting the Girl Next Door gimmick, picks up the victory here and will challenge for the TBS Championship at a future date. 55 with Julia Hart, sustaining chronic shoulder pain. We then moved on to another matchup which is going to see another injury, so we might see a few of these. Mick Foley is your referee for this one, and it was about to have decent wrestling and not a lot of heat. It was the debuting Akira Tozawa picking up a win over Dragon Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, Trevor Lee, Kip Sabian and Angelico in 21-31 when Akira Tozawa pinned Angelico with a deadlift German suplex. A 54 here, probably hampered by Trevor Lee getting a bruised eye socket, and no gimmick, just a lot of kickassery from Akira Tozawa. We then moved on to a returnee. Adam Cole is back after being taken out in that very vicious match with Sammy Guevara, and he won a decent match against Daniel Garcia in 26-18 with a flying crossbody, a 76 here. So there was a few reasons for doing this one. It was basically bring Cole back, get a lengthy match up, but give Daniel Garcia a very good spotlight. After the match, Cole says he's back, he's focused, he's going to work his way back up the ranks in AEW, and if he's still champion, he's going to go after that champion Sammy Guevara and take everything away from him. 71. Moved along, we had Chris Statlander pick up a win over Saru, however they pronounce her name, in 17-34 with an area 451. A 70. A lot of our performers will be people we're looking to push, or are pushing, that will get singles matches here, Chris Statlander being one of them in that matchup. We also had a matchup that had decent wrestling and not a lot of heat, as Ace Austin defeated Mascara Dorada in 14-10 with the House of Cards. A 60 here, 63 here, looking to try and really push Ace. He's kind of past that kind of impact level of overness. He's now fully in AEW, and we'll hope to continue to develop them. Mascara Dorada just puts on good matches, and I'm happy with that. We then moved on to some 6 women, or trios, women's action, and in a bout that had decent wrestling, but didn't have much heat. It was Deonna Purrazzo teaming with the Soho Squad to defeat Tenille Dashwood and the Canadian Ninjas. In 13-47, with Deonna submitting Portia Perez with a Fujiwara armbar. Very happy with that one, and that gave a 64. If you wonder why it's recap gimmick changes, I'm pretty sure that'll be for referees probably making their debuts, even though it's one-off appearances. Next up, we had a decent matchup, Matt Riddle over Jake Something in 17-30 with the Bro Mission. Simple, effective, and a very nice rating at 69, both guys with pretty good chemistry. Next up, we had a decent matchup that I'm really not happy that didn't click. I had Pete Dunne defeat Roderick Strong at 20-01 with the bitter end. A 62, and those two don't click, so it's an awkward bout. That's a shame, that one. Then moving forward, we had Shane Strickland defeat Matt Cardona in 23-43 with a swerve stomp. 69 here also. Cardona's had a great run, not just in AEW but also with Impact, and I felt like we could move some of that overness over to Strickland. I'm kind of like a tone with Matt Cardona, because Impact's really starting to grow, but I need that to get to like 50-60 over as a company so I can push more wrestlers out there to develop and get their overness. But most of Impact's biggest stars call their home All Elite Wrestling. And then the wee comedic backstage segment with the very nice, very evil Danhausen, and he's with the very evil, not very nice, Abaddon. So they're just kind of talking about stuff, and Danhausen's like, yes, you can do this, to Abaddon, and Abaddon just looks and kind of twists her head in that weird kind of way. That was a 43. A decent matchup, Calvin Tankman defeats Jonathan Gresham in 20-26 with a Tankman driver. Good win there, a 73 for the big man over Jonathan Gresham. We then had a good wrestling match with a decent reaction from the crowd, and a very surprising one that had great chemistry, as Jonah defeats Orange Cassidy in 12-49 with a death drop driver. 75. Yeah, fair play, guys. Didn't expect this, but the big man picks up the win. We then had another decent matchup as absolute Ricky Starks defeats Johnny Gargano in 21-41 with the Buster Keaton. Will they be able to do a better reversal than the one they done with Jay Lethal? I doubt it. But the 70 result here shows the world is still absolute Ricky Starks. And Gargano continues this losing streak. What will be next for Gargano? Will it truly be one final beat? Moving on into the women's division with a good matchup with BB4 defeating Ronda Rousey in 13:09 with the Kiss of Death. 67 here, no real psychology at the matchup. I'll be honest with Ronda, it was nice to have her. Very poor psychology stat. I'm trying to take that overness and push on to everybody else, and when her contract comes up, we'll wish her the best in her future. Oh, we don't do that here, we just let them go quietly. Next up, we have a debut. She is cleared to wrestle in this save. We talked her out of retirement, so I don't know the condition of her neck in this save, but she's at least able to wrestle without any edit. Just a case of, do you want to wrestle? I'll wrestle. This is my house again, so she's back. She's going to be debuting the Rebel gimmick. It was very good. Obviously with Saraya Knight, I could have went back to Britannia, but I feel like she's still known as Saraya. There is 2 R's in her name here. When I put it as just normal Saraya Knight, it said this already exists in the game, so we just went with the double R for Saraya Knight. But 67, yeah, let's see how she does. Let's try and build her back up. She started off with her first match against Candy Rose, of course one of the women that is on the arms of Garza Jr., the womanizer. But it was about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, subpar wrestling, and Saraya Knight defeats Candy Rose with a nightlight in 12:21:58. The fact she's getting 62 performances is promising so far, but we'll see how we can take the Saraya character going forward. We then have a promo from Chris Jericho. It's very passionate. He says that Sammy's retired, he's going to go back, he's going to do some things with Fozzy, but he feels like he's going to look up inspirations. He's not done in AEW, he won't wrestle ever again, but he's ready to make a big impact and be known truly as the GOAT of all trades. I've got an idea what I want to do with him. We need to see if it takes off. Next up, we had a debut in a poor match as Carmelo Casanova defeated Lee Johnson in 11:42 with a Fedora Frog Splash. A 58 here, and a good win for the debuting Carmelo. Lee Johnson's not too long back from the development factory, but yeah, he's just been putting on big matches before we find the right idea for him. We then have a backstage brawl as Lance Archer's met with the returning Miro back from a hiatus. They start brawling, and I guess we've got an impromptu match between these two monsters. That was a 64. And the matchup itself saw Miro defeat Lance Archer in 14:17 with the Bullplex. A 68, I'll be honest, I haven't utilised Miro anywhere near his capacity, but he's back and he picks up a good win. We then have a promo backstage, and it is the handsome Devil Hook, or cold-hearted Devil, sorry, with the advocate Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman says, look at this prodigy. This guy has came from an unbelievable background, a father that was a fantastic grappler and an ECW champion. His son has already retired, Chris Jericho. This man's potential is absolutely limitless, and you are about to witness that. So that was a 76. And all the hookers assemble as in a decent matchup. Hook defeats Bobby Fish in 11:49 by submission, although he was off his game and he also sustained a cracked tailbone, third injury of the night. So it's a 56. I hope that doesn't affect Hook too much. He's actually nearly 70 over, which is why the in-ring rating's so high. His stats aren't particularly great, but if we can get far enough in the save and he can develop at a good rate, there's a reason we put him in there with Bobby Fish. Hopefully that can develop in the future, so we'll see how long that takes him out. Oh, by the way, we signed some audio. That kind of gave it away, the fact he's also road agent. Next up, another referee debut, but we had a decent matchup that saw Kairi Hojo defeat Mercedes Martinez in 13:26 with a spear, a 70, a good one here for Kairi as she continues to gain momentum. We then had a little exchange by guys that have had a little bit of beef in the last few weeks ever since Samoa Joe rocked up in AEW. They've got a long historical past together, and Joe says this is the time he's going to put CM Punk to sleep. That match happens later tonight. That was in 82. That was my backup in case the last one didn't work between Kenny and Sammy. We then had a decent matchup. Claudio defeats Jeff Cobb in 1814 with a neutralizer. At 72, frustratingly, like WWE, I've kind of utilised Claudio as a talent that makes people look very, very good, because he is very, very good. So I'm hoping, even though he is now plus 40, that we can give him maybe one final run and ascend him as high up the card as we can with a big victory over Jeff Cobb. And you think these are the kind of names we've got so far? All the big hitters, and I mean all of them, are still to come. Speaking of which, one of them is Jon Moxley, and he brings the first 90 rating of the night. A superb matchup sees Jon Moxley defeat Kyle O'Reilly in 32-30 with a Death Rider, and it makes you wonder if Kyle O'Reilly was more over. Could this push the 100 threshold? But excellent from these two, put together at the last minute, and Moxley and O'Reilly deliver. Next up in the women's division, a decent matchup sees a shock win for Jade Cargill, because she's not the most over in this, picking up a win over a fellow powerhouse in Jamie Hayter in 13:49 with the Jaded. 70 is pretty good. Jade's in a weird scenario with us here. Her technical attributes are not fantastic, but her psychology is nearly 80 because of the mentorship of QT Marshall. So I want to see how far we can take her with poor stats, good psychology. See if we can turn her into a 100 match worker. I doubt it, but it'd be cool to see. Next up, we had some more action in the women's division. As about to add a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. So the team of Dakota Eve and Toni Storm defeat Penelope Ford and the Bunny in 13:23 when Dakota Eve pinned the Bunny with a top rope splash. Tony's obviously over because of her TBS run. Dakota will try and ascend towards that, and the Bunny and Penelope doing some good stuff. Then moved on to a decent matchup that saw Alpha defeat the Butcher and the Blade in 10:43 when Gable pinned the Blade with a grand amplitude. JJ is obviously limited because of his obviously well documented injuries, so his technical stats are a bit iffy. His body's a bit not great in terms of the body condition in the game, so that's a bit iffy, but I still want to have Alpha and properly push them. And a 65, see if we can relive some of their glory days. We move along in a decent matchup. Kana picks up the win over Dr. Britt Baker DMD in 23:18 with the Billiken, a 72. I just want to utilise Kana as well as I can before she retires, because she retires quite early in TW saves, but good matchup with her and Britt. We then had a matchup that saw Rey Mysterio defeat Leo Rush in 11:48 with a 619 into a seated senton. Simple, effective, 73 rated match. A good matchup, I had Darby Allin defeat Garza Jr. in 21:49 with a coffin drop. 82 here, 86 for Darby, 72 for Garza. I have Kaneko Anzai as like a kind of reluctant manager, like she's like this. It's like Jeff Jarrett and Deborah basically is the kind of way I'm looking at it, where she's like the eye candy and he's just like, I'm the man. What you cheering her for basically. I believe she's a new generated wrestler, or regenerated. Everybody has different ways they look at it, if it's new gen or regen. I think it's regen when it comes to TW, but basically I want to see how I can develop a character that a wrestler, how I can get them over. She's got no wrestling skills. I think it's like high 90s sex appeal though, so we'll try and push her for her looks. And then a decent matchup with Wardlow defeating Minoru Suzuki in 13:31 with the Splash Mountain Powerbomb, a 74. Wardlow has everything bar psychology, so I thought putting him in with people like Suzuki may help develop that attribute, so happy with that. We then had a decent matchup that saw the Acclaim defeat Bear Country in 12:16 when Max Caster pinned Bear Builder with the mic drop, a 62. Both these teams have been in the development factory until pretty much the last month or so when they've asked for call-ups. So started to be getting matches on Dynamite and Rampage. And when I go to two brands, then obviously these guys will be featured more prominently. And see what happens in a stacked tag division. The next segment sees the Acclaim go backstage and they bump into a wrestler who's coming out for the next match. So you can imagine how awkward this exchange will be as the Acclaim bump into Brock Lesnar. He's not in a mood. Max Caster goes, yo, listen. And then they just get a stare from Lesnar and they just skittle on basically. Don't want anything to do with him. A 66 for that comedy segment. But Brock's in action, he takes on Drew Galloway. Superb matchup. Drew picks up the win in 12:52 with the Claymore. 84. Same idea as with Ronda Rousey. Get that overness off of Brock. Get on to other guys. Get Brock Lesnar out the door. Limited psychology. Age is not on his side. Gotta give people their up, Brock. 84 still good. Next up with a TNT Championship matchup. Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Penta El Zero M in 13:33 with the Frog Splash. Powerhouse Hobbs makes defense number 2 of the TNT Championship. 73. A frustrated figure is Penta El Zero M. And Team Taz does a beatdown after the match with Ricky Starks and Calvin Tankman joining forces, and a 3-on-1 beatdown on Penta has happened. 67. We then moved on to the the Women's Tag Team Championships, but they had a decent reaction from the crowd. Subpar wrestling. TJ pick up the win over Daria Berenato and Layla Hirsch, and 11:57 with Anna Jay pinning Daria. Daria's got high overness because I really did push her to start with, but I'm hoping now we get the knock-on effect of that and it kind of pushes on to other workers. And I felt these two tied together with kind of MMA backgrounds, or at least in Layla's wrestling. I don't know if she's done MMA, probably, to be fair, but 59 regardless. 5th defence of the titles. We then had the TBS Championship on the line, and a poor matchup saw Cassie Lee defeat Riho, Serena Deeb and Giselle Shaw in 9:52 when Cassie Lee pins Serena with a bitch kick, meaning that Cassie Lee is your new TBS champion. Giselle Shaw's a weak link. She's got a long way to go in terms of getting over. A 62 overall. Because of the year-long injury to Jessie Mackay, Cassie Lee's going to go solo, and I've been giving her win after win after win. She still had cooled momentum, so I'm hoping that with the victory here she'll get to at least a decent level, like maybe neutral or possibly a little bit warm, and I'll go all in on her as a singles wrestler because she's going to be solo for a year. Then moved on to the AEW Women's World title, and this match went long. Superb matchup. Io Shirai defeats Bayley Rose in 47:37 with a moonsault press. Io Shirai makes the 14th defence of this amazing women's title reign, and it gives us an 82 rated matchup. We carry on with some more elite women's action, and a good matchup saw old rivals Becky Quinn and Charlotte Tangle, with Becky picking up the win in 23:36. 8 rated matchup, which is good. Becky needed to win more for overness because obviously she previously put over Brianna Brandy, so good that Charlotte done the job here, and Becky can be back near contention for the Women's World Championship. Next up, we had a good matchup between Mercedes Bernardo and Thunder Rosa. Mercedes picks up the win in 22:07. It just shows the high end of our women's division is stacked. We need to get more up there because it is mostly WWE exports that are there. But at 78, 2 good performances. Mercedes with the win, as they've had a few fights together in this rivalry. We then had a decent matchup. Andrade Alido and Tetsuya Naito defeated the Motor City Machine Guns in 17:53. Naito over Sabin with Destino. Naito's just not over in the US, it's like 50 over, so put him with Andrade, get him over as quickly as we can after New Japan let him go. I'm like, cool, I'll take him for a year or two. And the two former stablemates pick up the win over the Guns in a 77 rated matchup. We then moved on to a decent matchup. The Hardys defeat the Men of the Year in 1423 when Jeff Hardy pinned Scorpio Sky with a Twist of Fate and Swanton Bomb combo. 70 overall. Good performances from Jeff and Ethan Page. And the Hardys continue a good run of wins since Jeff's arrival. We then moved over to a good matchup with decent wrestling. Hangman defeats Buddy Matthews in 2054 with a Buckshot Lariat. A 77. You can see here I really need to push Buddy a bit more to make that a bit more competitive. But a good matchup nonetheless. Something I'd quite like to see in real life. And then we had a matchup that probably would have delivered a lot more, and I knew this was going to be the problem with Psychology. Both can need a little bit more to get there. The super matchup, MGF over Jungle Boy in 2247 with a Swanton Bomb. 77 Jungle Boy, 91 MGF. Jungle Boy is popularity capped at 71, which is really annoying because I could easily get him to main event level, especially with Bryan Danielson being his mentor. But that is what it is. We get 77. And then we have a little coming together between Punk and MGF, but both are heels in this world, so it's kind of like a little level of respect. And MGF just says, "Good luck in your match." And CM Punk goes, "Thank you. You've done real well out there, kid." And that was an 84. Punk tangles Joe, and it's a great heat, but it's decent wrestling, but it's poor, it doesn't click, and it really hampers the performances. As CM Punk cheats to defeat Samoa Joe in 1430 with underhanded tactics. So a 69. I think they click really well. I think we've had historical evidence of that, but sometimes it throws it up in the game, and it gives us a 69. Joe won't go to the main event, it'll be like an upper mid-card guy. But if a guy like that's available, you gotta sign him. We then are getting closer to our finale. In fact, this might even be... No, it's not a co-main event actually, because I've still got a few matches. I think we have a little words. And there's still maybe 5 or 6 matches. But these two will tangle later on. I think there's another one just panicking in case I didn't get the 100. But Danielson and Rhodes basically confirming here that it is a 30-minute Iron Man rather than the 60-minute, because obviously Cody's stamina won't last, but both of them came out of it well with the 100. And yep, Malachi Black over Shinsuke Nakamura in 932 with a Black Mass. 72. Nakamura's lack of stamina means I'm going to drop him down the card very quickly, which is a shame. And an ascendancy of Malachi Black because I haven't really done much with him, and I'm pretty much disappointed at myself at that. But a good match nonetheless. We then had another long matchup here, superb matchup, Tyler Black with a win over Prince Devitt in 31-43 with a curb stomp. 82 with these guys pretty similar in overness and performance. We then had a 0x Championship matchup as Ricochet defended against both members of Top Flight in Triple Threat rules, and Ricochet defeats Darius Martin with a 630 splash, giving him his 8th defence of the 0x Championship. At 73, Ricochet carrying the match, but I thought it would be a very good showcase for both of the youngsters. We then had the IWGP United States Heavyweight title on the line as Pac defeated AJ Styles in 1357 by submission with a Brutalizer. It was his 6th defence of the belt. An 81 here. AJ struggling with stamina as well, so a lot of these WWE guys will be here for a bit, and then we'll probably need to let them go once their star basically fades. But hopefully they can help our new guard reach that next level beforehand. We then had a good matchup that has been brewing for a long time after the boys from the NYC had attacked Shawn Michaels, and a good matchup saw HBK, Ace and Christian Cage defeat Kingston, Santana and Ortiz in 1818 when Ace pinned Santana with a spear, and 82 here, Christian being the weak link. Where have I heard that from, WWE? We then had a nice tag match here as we saw FTR defeat Kevin Steen and Sami Zayn in 21-56 with Cash Wheeler pinning Kevin Steen with a big rig after a Tully Blanchard interference. I just feel Steen and Zayn are just too good that they can afford to keep putting people over, and then the promos will just drag their overness back up. It gives me a chance to elevate FTR a bit higher, so I get more good matches out of them with higher overness, and these two will be fine. My only worry is I've never really put them as solo stars towards the main event, which I probably should give them a run or two. We then saw the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line. The winners of the Brodie Lee Memorial Cup, of course, 10 and Windham. And it was a good matchup that saw the Young Bucks defeat 10 and Windham in 14:25 when Nick Jackson pinned 10 with a Meltzer driver, because during the matchup with Windham turn on 10. The Young Bucks make the 4th defence of the World Tag titles, only a 74 because of 10 and Windham's timing is all over the place. This is what I was getting at. This is where it comes to a head. We can start the big feud between 10 and Windham. We'll turn him heel. I don't know why I never had it longer than a segment. I think I was debating over it and then kind of didn't go with it. But it was a complete success because I've had no recent turns in the last couple of weeks. So 10 versus Windham, and there'll be a big backstory behind that. And after it, we just had Windham beat the hell out of 10. Because why not? 72. We then had that 3 falls to 1 match up there, or 3 falls to 2 even. The 30-minute Iron Man match goes right to the wire. And the exceptional matchup sees Bryan Danielson pin Cody Rhodes 3 times in 30 minutes. And it gets a 90 rating. So fantastic for these two. And a good win for the American Dragon. Main event time coming up. We get the promo from Sammy Guevara. He said it's been a long show. He hopes that people have enjoyed seeing all the talent of AEW, but it's time to see the prime talent of AEW, the Spanish God, the champ Sammy Guevara. That is an 87. Kenny gets a special entrance, which gets an 85. Fireworks, pyro, everything, you name it, the best bout machine is here. We finish the show. AEW World Championship on the line. Kenny Omega, Sammy Guevara. 91. Balls, I still can't get that 100. But an exceptional matchup. Sammy defeats Kenny in 24-23 with a 630, giving Sammy his 2nd defence of the AEW World title. I know these two have good chemistry together, that's why I put them together, to try and get that 100 rating. We might get the 100 show. If we don't, it's going to be like a 96 or 97. But yeah, really doing my all to put Sammy over. I think he has pop capped at 85. But the Spanish God showing that new generation is certainly here. And we finish the show. We got a tease what's coming next, as we have a stare down between Sammy Guevara and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Winter is coming, and so is a lot of pain for Sammy Guevara. So we'll click finish show. This might take a bit of time to load. Didn't, but we see there a 97 again with all the boosts, a 56 region increase of course, and there you go. As the best showcase of the stacked roster in AEW. You can put a lot of filler in there, you can try a lot of things, and as long as the top dogs deliver, we're going to put on a really special show. So I'll click back to the main screen. We probably won't even lose money on that show despite it being free, because we had it showed on the AEW Plus network, so if we get like 30 point whatever viewing, then we'll still be in a position to do really well. I don't foresee me signing too many more people at my roster. I'm pretty much got it at the happy place. I'm going to start letting people go. Trent's went, Brandon Cutler's went, Chuck Taylor's went, so a few more people will go when their contracts expire. I'm going to try that Tony Khan method of not releasing people and give a lot of people off to developmental. In terms of recruits, if Keith Lee becomes available 100%, and Jey Uso as well, so I get the Usos. Let's have a look. See what happens here. So Julia Hart is out injured, we know about that. Hook is injured, not going to miss any dates, which is good. Danhausen injured, so he injured on another show despite being on our show. It's not very nice, but overall show was good. Let's have a look here. Let's find the contract for Austin Gunn, and 75 increase for the captain, Shawn Dean. So Kaito Kiyomi will definitely give a new deal to. Stats are absolutely fantastic actually, but we just need to get the overness in the US, so we'll maybe swap him from a development factory to Impact. Joe Gacy wants to come up. Danhausen's cracked tailbone. Opinions: Yuka Sakazaki is charismatic. Julia Hart doesn't get it. Yuka Sakazaki is charismatic. Chris Statlander's going to be a star. Anna Jay is turning a good worker. Good stuff, because I'm not going to push most of them. And a 32.02, so that is the most viewed show in all Elite Wrestling history. Perfect. I just need to remember to do that contract. Hopefully I will. So finances, you can see there 48 million, although we have only ran a Dynamite, a Rampage, and one event to get 50 million. But as I say, it is a case of money's fine. That's gave me all the money in the world I need in this save. I don't really need to worry about the financial side. It's just a case of try to get that 100 match at any means necessary. So we'll continue to run on the network. I'm happy with that one. Still a few people to debut, likes of Danhausen's been doing backstage skits, so I believe that counts. Bobby Roode's a road agent, doesn't count. Kathy Kelly probably won't even debut, to be fair, I'll probably let her go. Timothy Thatcher's out for a long time anyway. So if we look at our medical, so still 27 days for Danhausen and Hook, 3 months and 3 weeks for Alex Zane, 11 months and 2 weeks for Jessie Mackay, 2 months and 3 weeks for Julia Hart, 29 days for Ray Phoenix, but with that badly herniated spinal disc, I don't know what condition he's going to be in. So I'm taking a risk with him, but he may just be nowhere near the performer that he was, because obviously bad injury, body will be down, some skill set will be down. Shotzi's back in 6 days, Trevor Lee 16, and Timothy Thatcher, who was signed from WWE, 7 months and 3 weeks because of severe concussion, but the plan is again player coach role for Thatcher. And just to confirm, top 100s, joint third best show of all time in 97 behind All Out and Grand Slam. Top 100 matches, I think I'm best with 91 there, so that is going to be Sammy and Kenny in at 13th. You can see that everything now is like 23 and 22, so it took a bit of time for the company to get us into this position. Top attendance by 3,210 to 312 even. So by far the biggest attendance, because it was free. You notice that these two are free. Probably should have called it free for all series. And went on pay-per-view, and there you go. Just ahead of the Dynamite Anniversary Special, a 32.02. Results in just over 24 million viewers watching wrestling. If only that was the case in real life. But anyway, it's been a long episode. Thank you very much for watching. In a 2 weeks' time, in-game, as winter is coming. So hopefully, I'll see you for that one. But thanks for watching this. It may be one of the longest TW shows ever. Possibly, I don't know. Maybe it's been done before. But yeah, it's cool to do that anyway. And yeah, let's make some really cool matchups going forward. Take it easy. See you soon. Bye bye.